Here is a problem given as two trains, each traveling with a speed of 37.5 kilometers per hour, are approaching each other on same track. A bird that can fly at 60 kilometers per hour flies off from the one train and heads directly for the other train when they are 90 kilometers apart. That means the two trains are 90 kilometers apart and they are moving towards each other. When they are moving towards each other with each 37.5 kilometers, a bird is on one train and which is moving towards the other train with 60 kilometers per hour. Then on reaching the other train, it flies back to the first train and so on. That means it is moving from one train to the other, then coming back. Likewise, the bird is traveling. Now, by the time two trains collide, so what is the total distance traveled by the bird? That is the question he has asked. So here you just look at the data given first, the pictorial form of the data given. Here is the track and a train is moving. This is the train moving in this direction with 37.5 kilometer per hour. And there is another train over here which is moving exactly opposite to this with a velocity, same thing, 37.5 kilometer per hour. Now here there is a bird. Here a bird sitting on this. Here there is a bird which is flying towards this, and then after reaching here, it is again flying back to this. By the time it flies back, the trains are moving towards each other. The distance is getting reduced. That means when the trains are moving opposite to each other, we will use a relativity concept over here. Therefore, the relative velocity of the trains can be given as, according to the definition of relativity, the velocities are to be added with reference to a person standing outside. 37.5, that comes out to be 75 kilometer per hour, and the distance between them is 90 kilometer. That means before the collision, the time elapsed is nothing but distance is given as 90 kilometers. That is the problem given. Therefore, time for collision can be 90 divided by 75. That comes out to be 6 by 5 hours. So during this 6 by 5 hours, the bird is moving to and fro from one train to the other train. Therefore, distance traveled by the bird, S is equal to velocity of bird multiplied by the time taken before collision. That is coming out to be, velocity of the bird is given as 60 km per hour and the time elapsed is 6 by 5 hours. Therefore, it comes out to be 72 kilometers. That means before the collision, the bird travels a distance of 72 kilometers. So this problem is based upon the relativity concept and this can be solved in this manner. Two trains, each traveling with a speed of 37.5 kilometers per hour, are approaching each other on the same track. That means on the same track, two trains are coming opposite to each other. Now there is a bird on one train which is flying at a speed of 60 km per hour from one train and heading towards the other train. That means when trains are 90 kilometers apart, a bird is moving from one train and going to the other train, then again coming back to the first train and so on. Then as the trains are approaching towards each other, before the trains collide, how much distance the bird will travel? That is what the question asked. So here we are just taking the two trains which are 90 kilometers apart. So the distance from here to here is going to be 90 kilometers. Now they are moving towards each other with a velocity this. Therefore, the velocity with reference to one train, the other train can be given as, when they are moving towards each other, the relative velocity can be given as 37.5 plus 37.5, that is coming out to be 75 km per hour. So as the relativity concept says, when the trains are moving opposite to each other, it has to be added. So relative velocity of the trains is 75 km per hour, and the distance that they have to travel before collision is 90 kilometers. So after 6 by 5 hours, they are going to collide. During this time, the bird is making to and fro motions from one train to the other train. Therefore, the total distance traveled by the bird can be given as the velocity of the bird as well as the time taken before the collision. That means it is a multiplication of velocity and time to get the distance. Therefore, velocity of the bird is given in the data as 60 km per hour, and the time for the collision is 6 by 5 hours. So substituting this, you are getting 72 kilometers as the distance traveled by the bird. This is how the problem can be solved.